It seems to be going. Well, testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. If this ends up on YouTube, then this is a successful test. And it'll probably not be all that great, so if you're looking for good content, I'd recommend looking elsewhere. But I'm gonna play some Monster Train. This is okay. Well, now that's not exactly liking this either. This is my first time doing this recording software. Let's see. Come on. Oh, there we go. A little bit of lag. Probably draining on the CPU. But no, it does. The CPU's fine, so, stuff to worry about later. Monster Train. It's a deck builder. A roguelike deck builder. I've been told it's very similar to Slay the Spire, but I've personally never played that. What? Why are they all train stewards? Odd. Anyway, Brawl. Okay. Okay, so it's auto track and Brawl and quick with Melting Remnant and Working. Okay, that's a good thing. So, this is a daily challenge. It has some automatically set mutators, things that make them different from normal runs. In this case, it has automatically set us with a primary and allied clan of the Melting Remnant and the Wormkin being two of the different factions in the game. Now, this end boss is going to be a problem. Cast weakness upon our allies. This mini boss, blinding and shattering aren't bad summons for Arcus. And Talos. Not great, but not awful. Let's see. Attuned to Extract. Deal 50 damage to the front enemy unit. Not great with quick, but now this one is always fun. Descending unit and apply days 1. Okay, we can work with this. So the mutators for this challenge: One Track Mind, Brawl, and Fast Draw. Fast Draw gives enemies it gives allies quick. There's another one that gives enemies quick, which is not great. Quick allows them to attack first. Wait, why would there be? I might be mistaking that for multi-strike. I know there's one that gives both of them multi-strike. There's a lot of mutators. I'm gonna get better at talking. Anyway, Brawl. Brawl is just boosting everybody. Gives extra damage, which is the sword's icons, and extra health to everybody. And then I suppose this would be the main unit, the one that goes through every game with you, is your Pyre. It's the player health and the player attack. This also boosts player attack, which is nice. It means that things that get up there aren't going to live as long. Now, One Track Mind could be an interesting issue. People are still shooting off fireworks. That's a surprise. Not a welcome one at that. One Track Mind means that as we go along, each of these sides, well, one side will be automatically chosen over the other. Chosen? Let's grab some money for pack shards. Those raise the difficulty of the game as you go along. That's nice. I thought I turned that off. Oh well. Done Echo. Seems like it'll be good. It'll give us an extra infuse in each draft pack, which plays off of a lot of the abilities of our ally clan. This will cause enemies not to attack in the top floor, but with Quick that's not as much of an issue in the long term. They're generally supposed to either die on the first floor or we're in issues. So I think Donica will be our best bet. And then, who do we playing with? I believe it's Rector Flicker. Yep. Now, Rector Flicker has to be one of my favorite champions of this game. Because he does some very fun things. And as nice as it would be to play around having that endless unit already, I gotta go with Dark Calling. I can jump into the other path later on if I think it'll be more advantageous, but really, with Rector Flicker, no matter where you end up at the end, you'll be in a good spot as long as you don't get godly or god-awful draws elsewhere. Did I get any supers on the top floor? No. Okay. This is where having no, oh, right, it's 11. There we go. Now this floor's gonna be an issue. But let's take this one floor at a time. No? That kills that one. Not much should kill that one. Odd. Let's see how this plays out. Oh, I should have dealt damage to him. You see? You gotta watch out for little moves like that. Otherwise, this game will happily nickel and dime you to death. Now then. Yep, let's pull up them. Drip fall. This is definitely going to end up being used here. I just don't know where yet. That'll murder them, and that'll murder them, but honestly, boop. This one does not deal damage when it attacks. Instead, whenever combat ends while it's in a room, if it's not dazed, it runs away. But if you can kill it before it runs, you get a lofty sum of money, which is useful for buying upgrades and such. And having things die is not necessarily a bad thing, particularly with Rector Flicker. As Rector Flicker has now added this character, who just got murderized, back to our hand to be redeployed, as it were. Let's see. How do I want to deal with you? Oh, yes. Let's just murder you. So this is 11. That's that. Okay, so that murders both of them. Let's see. Yeah, these guys would be an issue. First off, ding them, because that'll make that happen. Drop there to murder one more. Now then, I've not been explaining what some of these spells do very well. This spell, which I'm about to use, deals 1 damage per these echo crystals that we get. Echo crystals are gained per floor. Like this one has 0 currently, as you can see up here in this corner. This one has 3 because I cast several of these spells on it. And this one has 1. Different abilities, mostly from the Wormkin clan, play off this ability. Adding them, removing them, changing them around, and in this case, dealing damage based on them. It's not much, but 4 damage is still better than 0 damage. And that's everyone dealt with, I think. I'll set this person in here just to try and get them out of the deck. Okay, now then, this card has various things on it. For one, it is one of the ones that remove the echo charges. Oh, if I ping you, I can get rid of the front guy, but it removes those 2 echo charges. Which is fine, because they're better off saved for elsewhere at the moment, unfortunately. That'll up our damage a good bit. Yeah, we can't get the 2 necessary to cast this one again. But there's not really anywhere that we need these more at the moment. But Rector Flicker, ever the bro, steps in and hands us some of our deceased compatriots in better condition than ever, sorta. His ability at the end of combat is he reforms units. Reformed units get a boost to health, a boost to damage. They have their Ember cost, which is the points you get per turn to cast spells, set to 0, which is very nice, as you can see on these 2. But most importantly, the downside, as it would be, depending on how the game goes, is burnout. It counts in every turn, and when it runs out of counts, the character dies. This character has 1 thing of burnout left. There's no point in putting a character in front of them with a higher amount of burnout, because this character will just tank a hit for them, one way or the other. Now, these guys cannot be moved down. You can move them up, but you cannot move them down because they freeze the area below them. Basically, they have defeated that floor. They can't come back. However, Dripfall, which we just cast, does Descent movement and a Daze, which does apply to the bosses, meaning that he has 2 times where our units get nice free hits on him. And at least in most cases in this game, overkill is definitely a best strategy. We took some damage, so we lost some of our points that we could have gotten from that. But now we have our choices. Molded does like what we have Rector Flicker for. It just reforms. But unlike Rector Flicker, we get to choose what we reform when we cast Molded. The Whiplash here gives Burnout. If they don't have Burnout before, they'll get Burnout. If they do have Burnout before, however, this will just add on to the Burnout. Which is why having Burnout becomes a lot less of a problem late in a run. You tend to get a lot of things that boost the amount of Burnout counters. Which means you really start at the end don't have to worry about how much Burnout I have. This one restores health but applies Burnout. These two, as you can also see, have Infused. You can normally get them without Infused, but thanks to Wormtooth and Dun Echo, these cards show up as Infused, which means that they provide the Echo charges that we need to power our Wormkin abilities. I'm going to go with the Whiplash just to try and play a bit more off of that fast draw. Now let's see what we have here. Alright. Yeah. I can't tell if my back's getting better or if I'm just getting more into the swing of things. Ooh, now this is always a good idea. This one both has Infused, so it gives one to the floor, one of those Echo charges, but also has Extract, which means it takes, in this case, 2 of those charges off the floor. However, the application applies before the removal. In this case, as long as you have at least 1 Echo charge already on the floor, you can cast Echo Transfer. Which is, again, a boost to a combat, which plays very well with Fast Draw. We've been sent down the path of combat and units instead of the path of magic. At the moment, that's not exactly... I wouldn't say it's not an issue, but it's not effective. It's not going to change things in the long run. Now, this is an interesting conundrum, because these are both great units. But I'm actually going to go with Paraffin Thug. These guys, whenever they kill a unit, you gain 20 coins. And coins, not only do they boost your score at the end, they're also used at merchants, like this one. These merchants give you boosts to your units here. I actually don't want Endless on any of my units, because the ability to reform them is a lot better. However, just some in general, HP is always great. Yeah. Now, there is a thing to be said for not reforming, not giving your units a whole lot of upgrades real quick. And that comes in with these. You get pack shards for them, which to a point is a problem, but you also want over 100 of them to trigger the true final boss, which is a large sum of extra points that you can get. Now let's see what we have here. These are upgrade zones, like the ones we were applying to our units, but these ones are, I believe, always specifically for spells. In this case, you can add the ability to Purge and remove the cost by 1, which is interesting but not useful. Purge means that once you cast it, it's gone from your deck for good. Useful if you have a case where you have bad cards, which some events and such do give you, but not in the case I'm currently in. Now this one is always handy. Upgrade a spell to cost 2 less. This means that any of these we can make cost 0. And furthermore, if they ever get something that boosts their cost by 1, some other upgrades do that, particularly for doubling the amount of a stack of things they get, which could be useful for in cases of burnout, or in cases of card doubling through the spell chain effect, which is another one from Divine Temples, so I would bet more on double stack than spell chain, honestly. But then again, there's a lot of things to consider when it comes to this game, and frankly, I'm not good at considering them, so don't ask me. How is this still only the first fight? Oh yeah, this game takes a while. Anyways, Wicklash now has that. And now, unit essences. Use one... Every unit you have has a effect when sacrificed at the temple that it puts on to another thing. I think my best bet for now is to just sack Actually, I think it's to sack a train steward. Yeah, I'm gonna sack a train steward into this because, as you can see, it goes from 25 and 45 to 30 and 60. And I intend for this unit to be taking quite a beating. There's a thing to be said for reforming it, especially through Rector Flicker, because that gives them a tasty boost. But that still has the problem of you don't know which ones are going to be reformed, and sometimes if you have an unfortunate circumstance that wipes most of a field, you might get the wrong guy. I could have gone back and upgraded more of my units, but I just don't know what things I would want to upgrade them with yet. There's a few too many variables for me to want to jump straight into dumping out all my money into some unfortunate merchant's hands. Now let's see, what do we have here? Overcharged Apprentice and Trusted Priest. Okay, well, this is where our pack shards are starting to become an issue. Any of the ones you see with these purple crystals on them are pack shard boosted. They also have that star by their name. That generally means they have more health, shields, and attack than their counterparts, and they generally also have additional abilities. In this case, they have an extra spell shield, as well as a slight boost to health and attack. Though their attack as a healer class is just to heal this guy. This guy is going to be an issue because he just has a massively boosted health pool of 90 total. 50 of it, or no, 30 of it, sorry, I cannot see, my glasses are smudged. Give me a second here. There we go. 30 of it is armor, which this person cannot recover. Their healer unit cannot heal armor, thankfully. If that was a modifier, I would not play that challenge. But it also just has 60 HP, which, even with everything I have, is a hard ask. Let's see what I can do on this. And that would bring it up to 34. And I can boost this guy up to there, and Dripfall. Ooh, I forgot about that. This guy, his only ability... Oh, wait, nope. He also has an extra ability. He has an ability normally granted to a different unit, which is on death, he deals 5 damage to the front ally. This guy, whenever you cast a spell on the same floor as him, he gets 2 extra attack immediately. Which means he can pack a punch. That is not very nice. Well, we managed to weaken him at least. We'll have to deal with him on these upper floors. Yeah, let them get bodied. We'll clash into you. Because we want him to be as strong as possible. Plus, if he kills this one in one shot... Why is this one not taking damage? Oh, right. The benefit of having quick is that our guys attack first, which means this guy will die before he deals damage. So this one will just be shooting the guy who had already died due to burnout. Which means up here, we can put in this guy. His intent is to die. That's what he's here for. He'll deal a little bit of damage and die. And when he dies, we'll get an extra card. Which will carry over until next turn. That's a little messed up when you think about it. But, I mean, there's a lot of things that are a little messed up when you think about it. That is one of the themes about this game. Don't think about it too hard. You don't want to know the story. It's an interesting story, but I'm a macabre one at that. I don't intend to do spoilers. Unfortunately, our happy furry friend carrying a nice sack of coins ran off with the mailman. Not dastardly mailman him. I'm going to drop him down here so he can be murdered by this guy. Which will give us an extra 20 coins before this guy disappears. Unfortunately, burnout is coming up for most of our units. Which is just because we don't have quite enough burnout-based theme. We don't have enough burnout-based boosts in our deck. Because there's a lot of burnout-based monsters, but they're not going to help us in this situation necessarily, unless they give us more burnout. Which is, I believe, only 2 monsters. Fortunately, we did get a reform. And we have 3 in the chamber for this turn. If this person gets reformed, we have at least 1 more hit on this guy that will deal some massive damage. Now then, let's see. Ah, good hand. Use him as a body shield for this guy. There's a few ways to go about this, but I think 3, 4, so 3, 7, and then 13? Yeah, that'd be 13. It's not quite enough. I think that might be our best bet. And then this. Now, this, as it deals as a damage dealing spell, it'll target, and it says on the card, it'll target the front enemy unit. Otherwise, I would use it to blow up this guy, or the healer. But no, it has to hit this person. And this boss has been boosted by the pack shards, coming with an extra spell shield too. Which means that this does nothing. As is the next spell that deals direct damage. In fact, as opposed to focusing on this guy, getting rid of that in case I get more of the heavier damage ones is a lot more preferred. Oh. Oh no. It's a little worse than I thought. I didn't notice that before. This person has sweep, which means he hits everybody at the same time. It doesn't matter if they're in the front or the back, they're still getting pinged. Oh. That was a little unexpected, admittedly. Daze you. Always plans for things going pear-shaped. Makes the run slightly longer. But I've been in many situations where if I hadn't, and I accidentally go through with my plan slightly the wrong way, I would have been dead. Now we go with Purifying Cleanse. I'm not sure which of these is best. I'm gonna go with Echo Infusion because Infuse plus Extract 1 means it can just always be placed. It's like it does not have Extract at all. And being able to boost health is kind of useful, honestly. Oh boy, here comes another tough decision. This guy is just money, money, money. He does one thing and he does it well. This one, it relies on us casting a lot of infused spells, and it eats those infusion charges. It eats those echoes. However, once it all eats the echoes and gets rid of its shell levels, which it has 8 of, it summons a unit with all the boosts that have happened to Kinhos Vessel. But that's still not really all that great, especially with the chance that it gets reformed into our hand. And then we have to deal with another 8 levels of shell before we get a semi-decent card. Let's see the unit essences. I might just use them as infusion fodder. That's not very good. This one, however, still gives you the benefit of what he does. Now let's see. Oh, we're still going down the path of monsters and men. Well, no, just monsters. I don't think there are any humans in this game. Oh, an extra wickless tycoon or paraffin thug. You know what? I'm gonna go with another Paraffin Thug. Pop into this Divine Temple here, and, yeah. Now, unfortunately, this isn't infused, and that won't be carried over to this Paraffin Thug. But the +5, +10, and the Harvest of Gain 5 will be. Making this one a 30-30. That. Let's see here. Did it work? Oh, nope, it's this one. Accordingly, it should have worked. But it's not under this things. Huh. That's a little odd. Well, I suppose we'll see in battle if it works or not. Never my favorite way of finding out things. Let's see. Oh, really? Normally, you'd love to see a speed stone, but we all have quick anyways, so there's no point in getting quick twice. I'll give this one an extra HP. Reroll. Multi-strike. Yes, please. That means that these people will do 60 damage right at the bat, and any boost we pack onto them, they'll get that boost twice, because they hit twice. It's almost like multi-strike says what it does in the name. Yeah. Alright, well, let's keep going. No point in stopping here. It's back country. Actually, hold on. Can we purge a card? We can purge a card. Normally you want to keep your deck at a low cost, but there's a chance that we could get free purges later, which is always handy. Not this floor. Not... Oh, wait. There's 1, 2, 3 bosses. Wait, no, there's one boss away. Oh, well. But then again, we also have no idea which path we're going down, so, let's find out. Alright. Let's see. So, this is one of the random events that you can get in the game. It gives you the option of choosing between 3 of very powerful spike-themed cards relating to the lore of Monster Train. I mean, it's a train. There's train tracks. You drive spikes into the train tracks. At least this part of the lore is not that complex. But let's see. Our options are Hellhorned Clan Spike, which is the spike of the Hellhorned. Yeah, it's generally either a spike of or their specific name, like Awoken's Rail Spike. It adds a nice bit of flavor once you're thoroughly into the game, but looking at it clinically, it's just kinda eh. So, each of these cards have Consume. That means once you cast them, You won't see them again in that battle unless you have cards that help you say otherwise, which is not uncommon in the Worm King clan. In fact, I think we've seen some of them already in this run. Now, which of these is most useful is honestly a question I don't know the answer to. I'm tempted to just hit the leave button, because we kind of already have a kind of sizable deck. Hold on, let's look at our deck. How much are the costs of everything? Everything is a 1. So this card says these are also all X cast cards, which means they'll eat however much ember, your points per turn, you have left, and then do an effect multiplied by that amount. Like this one will provide twice as much ember as you put into it in rage and armor for one of your units. This one will provide just as much ember as you put into it as sap and the effect sap, and 5 times as much on the effect frostbite onto your enemy. But this middle one here is the real gem of the lot in terms of where we're currently at. You draw as many cards as you put ember into it, and then you apply -1 ember to those cards. All of the cards in our deck are 1 ember or lower, which means that everything we draw with this we'll be able to cast. So I think I'm going to go with that. Let's hope it helps us win and doesn't just become a massive pain. Going back and forth on these is pretty common, because I could do this, but this would lock off infusing it later. But then again, the fact that it's already infused kind of locks off me wanting to combine it. It's already been handy more than once in this playthrough. I'll give it one more store, and if I see nothing good, I'll combine that. Now, over here we have more pack shards to get. I think when it comes to Extreme Zone, which provides a base boost of +30, it has to go on to this guy, because it has the Attune trait, which boosts any base boost by an extra multiplication of 5. So that goes from 50 to 200 damage, which even at the end of the game is a lot of damage. But I'm going to save that other slot on it for later. Now, is there any card here that we want to give it intrinsic, which intrinsic just means that it will be guaranteed to show up in your opening hand, as long as you don't have a hand full of things that are guaranteed to be intrinsic. I've not tested that, and I frankly don't want to, because that sounds like it'll either be really good or bad news bears. I think I'm gonna go with Echo Infusion, because just being able to boost up whoever has to tank through the opening Brevi is in a good place if they can get a nice little bit of extra health. Ow, my back. Sorry, I paused that. Or muted it, rather. Just to try and get my back in a little better of a spot. I don't know where I was going with what I previously said. Well, keep going. Armor 5. Tallow switches back every turn. Yep, nothing unusual. Better than the alternative, I suppose, but this is where you start getting some very strong enemies. How much damage is coming in? Not that much. I can put this person in just fine. Okay, that's a lot more than I thought. What? Oh, right. This person also attacks every turn. Well, that's what these two are for. There we go. And I'm gonna ping you. The weaker backup is a problem. But healing can be a lot more dangerous, honestly. And now we deal a lot of damage. In fact, we now murder everyone on this floor instantly. And this person is now dealing 110 damage per turn. We just have to contend with the burnout. The resolve mechanics are a little interesting, but I'm still trying to figure out how some of them work. I know that it works top down. So this person is going to have less problems than these people when it comes to figuring out when their resolve things activate. Once this floor is done, his resolve activates, and then it's this floor's turn, and then this floor's turn. At least that's how I think it works, but knowing me, I'm gonna forget. Oh well. Fortunately, while the person is on this floor, I did not get the very, very powerful spell. Though I still would prefer to cast that than just discard it. I'll probably try to get another point on that floor of Echo before they get there. And the healer just got murdered by my Pyre. You love to see that. Or at least I love to see that. Alright. Well, let's see. This is kind of a waste if I'm doing that now. Hold on. I can do this. Boop. And draw. Alright. Not the greatest, but it'll help. Because this person's attack going up doesn't matter if they're already dead before it's their turn. I'll be saving that one for when it's useful. This is why you don't normally want to be keeping around people, particularly extra units in your deck when you have Rector Flicker. Because this train steward is kind of, not good. In the slightest. It's damage. But it's not very good damage. And on that one, you do actually kind of want to be picky. Now let's see. Oh, we have this one. Smack. If you see an extra attempt available to smack one of these flying bosses, take it. Just take it. The earlier you can kill them, the better it is for you. And the earlier you can kill them, the more points you get. There's never a bad time to murder a boss. At least as far as I'm aware. Now then, final wave. That means that this person's gonna keep attacking until everyone's dead or they are. But fortunately, smack. One ahead, get more ahead. Now I'm thinking about it, I don't know if you can descend one of the flying enemies before they enter the phase where they start freezing the floors they pass. It's not normally useful, except with certain times in the final boss. Ooh. Ooh. This is not a very good card. Normally. Unless you're already playing around that. But we kinda are. Hopefully that wasn't too loud. I have my pause button on the top of my mic for some reason. I suppose that's easier to program at, I guess. I keep trying to say one word and it comes out of the mix of another word that I was considering. This one has problems with eating space. This one also has problems with eating space, and also just I don't have a whole lot of consume cards for its etch ability, which trigger on consume cards. This one... This one's actually not bad. Whenever they hit someone, anyone with burnout near on the same level as them gets a boost. And in this case, being Rage 3, which gives them plus 6 attack. I want to go with Capacity. This gives us one of the yellow circles. The yellow circles represent capacity per floor. Ooh, extra money. Some health, which is always handy. Let's go ahead and upgrade our boss here. Burned Right was never my favorite for him. It gives Rector Flicker burnout. But if I'm relying on him with having resolve, then having him die is kind of a problem. So instead, I'm going to go with Dark Calling 2, which causes it to make 2 units, the same as before, but this time with plus 10. Now then. Oh, here we are. Double stack. See? But I actually am going to try and save for spell change. Despite what I was saying earlier, it is actively better, because it still gives the ability of +4 and burnout. But it also would give a double of the activation of the card, just in general. I'm trying to think of a more eloquent way of explaining it, but I can't really come up with one at the moment. It does the thing, but twice. But at a cost of most that would be 1 higher when you do the second activation. If it's not 1 higher when you do the second activation, that's a good thing. Is there any other ones that would want to do it too? Not really. Do I just want to give something more power? I suppose. Having a few low cost but mediocre damage healing spells is always a good thing. Permafrost. Now that's actually a good question. Then I think the answer is this one. Permafrost means that once you draw it, it'll stay in your hand until you cast it or are forced to discard it through some enemy effect. Applying a -1 on Ember cost is normally good for these spells. Well, so it just means you don't have to worry about your Ember around them. However, it's, in my opinion, way more useful on X-cost spells. Because it just gives you that -Ember in terms of additional Ember to the boost. So if you, say, had that -2 spell and 4 Ember, you'd be getting 6 cards from this. By -2 spell, I mean the -2 spell boost that is currently in Wicklash. But now I'm going to put a -1 Ember cost on it, so that it'll always give me 1 more card. Because who knows? There have been times where that last card that I've drawn has been the difference between dying horribly and surviving with at least a little bit of HP. And don't forget to hydrate. I feel much better after that. Now this is an unstable vortex. It lets you remove just 2 cards from your deck, which is really handy. Especially now that the train sewers are honestly starting to get in the way more than a little bit. There. Wiping out 2 of those should open up a lot of room to move around in the back. Get me down to 22, which is not a bad place to be. I mean, now, I've been turning these on and off depending on how I've been feeling, but I haven't actually explained them. Trials. They just give your enemies a boost but at the end of the battle you gain extra coins, which is very handy. Especially going into certain floors where there'll be options to get these trinkets which give permanent effects. In this case, it tells me that they give Spell Shield 2, which affects these guys. And these guys. Everybody will have to take 2 of them before they'll die, which can be kind of problematic with the Absolver. If it weren't for the fact that they're already getting plus 10, that's with where the Absolvers come in, always at the back of their order. That's not gonna matter. Whether they have Spell Shield or not, it's gonna be a bad news bears until I can get the friends set up here. Or I can just draw them right away and do that. Now then, let's see. 30. And these 2 are 70 total HP and 30 total HP. So this one's going to eat all 3 of them, no matter where it is. I'd prefer this one to die first. Because if it dies and gets reformed, it just gets an extra plus 10, on top of the benefits of reforming. Now that's the problem. Oh, our furry friend has spawned into death, as we always love to see. Now the problem here is these guys. On top of the myriad of abilities that they're being given from the pack shards, at the end of combat, they give you this spell. They just add it to the top of your deck. Which says that once it's played, it's removed from your deck. But until then, if you're still holding it in your hand at the end of turn, your Pyre takes 3 damage, which you don't want. Okay, well would be problematic, or is actually still problematic, but we've started having enemy units with multi-strike come in, and as we've already seen from our units, multi-strike can be really powerful. Fortunately, we can daze this unit to prevent them from attacking this turn. And these low HP but high damage multi-strike units always tend to be in the back, as opposed to these ridiculously high HP but relatively lower damage units. Tanks, as you will. Let's see how this goes. This is admittedly not a good situation, but it's a workable situation. 1, 2, and boom. That leaves them with relatively low HP for next turn, and murders them. At least the one there with Harvest gives Harvest, whether it's their guys or our guys, that die. We finally got Whiplash, though, which is important. Because these someones are being pains in the rear. I'd be lying if I said I knew an easy way out of the situation, but all I know is the hard and dirty way out of it. I could cast that now, or I can cast it next turn to heal more damage. I know which I'm gonna choose. Fortunately, this can kill this person, and the other one will die before that. That leaves the problem being here, though. Daze them just to save some more HP. Actually, that saves all HP. Probably should have let them attack, now I think about it, but yeah. Alright, now. Purify and Cleanse. Let's see. This is where these units come in real handy. Let's see. So we got Whiplash, Purifying Cleanse, and Devotivary. I'm gonna be honest here. For a betting man, I would not currently... Were I a betting man, I would not currently bet on myself. But fortunately for me, I'm an idiot. That kills both of them. Yeah. Alright. Alright. Unfortunately, this gives me the Paraffin Enforcer for right here. Because if this person gets through, they're going to start causing problems. These two trigger on end of combat and add that weight of contrition. This one triggers whenever it kills someone. And it adds self-mutilation, which does 5 damage instead of 3. It's a lot worse. However, just having this Paraffin Enforcer here means that it will tank a whole bunch of hits enough that this person will die and we won't have to deal with it. Especially with this. Which prevents them from burning out in the middle of the combat. I figured that was going to happen eventually. I shouldn't have had chili. But look at the damage. I can see why people don't do this game normally for this. There's a lot of time just going through this. Especially when you're trying to be interactive and talking through the entire thing. In both these cases, I'm just gonna skip. I'd rather have the 10 coins than any of the cards, because they're not offering very good cards. Oh, it isn't preferable, because on this side we have our nice magic person, which we kind of don't need. A treasure, which gives us 1 trinket, which is, yeah, I mean, it's nice. You have a choice between 2, I believe. And then these random events, which can really be useful, but also sometimes be really not useful. However, on this side we have health, which we're currently full on, money, which we currently have just under 1,000 of, and the Merchant of Trinkets. The Merchant of Trinkets is interesting. It sells trinkets for large prices. Prices that can often be called rather not worth it. Those might come in handy at some point, but they could also be completely useless. And now, here's the thing I was saving to go along with this. It only adds another 10 magic power, so that'll bring it up to 250 damage. But it also adds piercing. Piercing ignores spell shield. It ignores armor, too. And on the final floors, there's a lot of enemies that have quite a lot of armor, but only maybe 80 or so health underneath their 200 plus armor. So 250 damage directly to that health, it'll blow up quite a number of enemies. Even some bosses of the weaker, more status-oriented ones. And then I'll do this just to add an extra 3 to the Awoken Rail Spike. There's never a reason to not. And remember, hydrate. Now as for this decision, I'm actually quite unsure. I really just do not know. I'm almost tempted to sack this one just so it can go into something else. You know what? I want to see something. I don't think we're ever going to get this person off, and I don't want this person being reformed even if we do. They cost too much and they just get in the way. So I'm going to sack them. Their ability says that they give plus 20. They don't say plus 20 to what, they just say plus 20. So I'm going to put that plus 20 onto the Formless Child, which can extinguish quite a few times. Their intent is to die. And if we get the right Merchants of Steel to boost our units, which say there's one right here on the next level, we might be able to get them an upgrade that means that they'll die every turn. And then respawn. But I've also not seen that since... I've not seen that in that upgrade in a while. I'm wondering if it was removed with the DLC expansion, which is where the Wormkin clan came in. This is one of the times where I'll actually say no to a trial. Spikes 4 means that whenever our units hit any of the spawned units, well, in this case, any of the units except the boss, they'll take damage. In this case, 4 damage, which can stack up quite quickly on the weaker enemies and on the weaker allies. This game will nickel and dime you to death if we have the chance. Oof. In this case, it really wants to. It has stealth units. Stealth units can't be hit in combat. They just aren't counted as there. I'm going to pop this to boost the health of this person. And ping you. Now this person has lost their first stack of stealth. And they only had one, so they're out of stealth. But these ones, they won't lose stealth until next turn, which means they'll be up here. But fortunately, we have these units coming in just in time to, well, give them a warm and as much deserved welcome. Now then, whatever we put down here is likely just going to die. And the other reason not to choose that trial, units are not coming in with spikes on their own just from the amount of pack shards we've gathered. Which is just going to be added on. So this person would instead have had 6 damage to whoever hit them every time they hit them with their 150 health. But fortunately, we can also just blow them up. That gives this one 10 HP because they gain HP whenever someone else dies in the form of armor. But that can be easily surpassed with some careful placement of other people. Now those ones move up, and this guy moves up, and more people come in. These ones have stealth, so they're just going to murder us. That's how it be. And these two are going to burn out anyway, so there's not a whole lot of point to it. But I want to see about this. the main thing on this stage is going to be murdering everyone at the top floor and boosting these people to insane values just to try and get as much of that in there as we can. Woo! We've just drawn up to a full hand, which is very nice. Boost that person. And again. This one said it gives it a... Oh. Is this it? Yeah, no, this one. This one says that it gives it this slightly different echo that is apparently permanent and can't be removed. I'm wondering if that means that I can cast this and it'll just stay. I don't want to do that because I want these two to murder as many people as they can. Remember, every time these two murder someone, we get money. Every time someone dies on the floor that this guy is on, we get even more money. By the end of this, we'll be rolling in it. There we go. I believe we're currently, we're just about halfway through the cycle. There's 9 battles, plus a 10th, counting the final boss. Including 3 flying enemies and then 1 special enemy we'll see towards the end, which is where these pack shards came in. But see, if we hadn't had this permafrosted, this would have been an issue, because he would have died. And we really, really don't want him to die, especially right now. Oh, and the bonus damage does apply to the person that died. Okay, so now we have 1 stupidly powerful Votivary for some reason. I don't know, I was just curious. I'm gonna ping this guy because I can. Not that it matters, anyone who gets up here dies instantly. Nice. Alright, so this is about where... Okay, I don't know why that fell over, but... Alright then. This is about where the run starts dragging on. Were I not recording it, I'd probably put on a video or something. Just keeping an eye out at what's going on, kind of phone it in. It's honestly how the game seems like it's meant to be played. Is there even a point to playing this guy? I mean, I guess it makes sure that it won't show back up next turn. But yeah, we now have a super powerful Votivary of all things. That's not something you normally try for. But it seems to have worked, so I guess we'll work with that. Now this boss starts with 10 stacks of lifesteal, which means whenever he hits, he gains HP equal to the total amount of damage he deals. And he also has sweep, which means he deals damage to everyone he hits. This is definitely a boss where applying Dripfall liberally will help. That just gives you more chance to get in more damage. Now we're up to 182 damage on him, which is nice. I don't think I want to try putting in this person because I think it'll feed him too many. Let's try it. And it still went up, so that's not a bad sign. And then just this. This person is getting severely fat on just the amount of boosts we're shoving into this guy's gob. He could punch a god, and the god would at least wince. I don't know if it'd be damaged, but it'd at least wince. It still has 10... Why does it still have 10 stacks of life steal? Hold on. We're supposed to lose some of those. Something about this isn't adding up, but I'm not quite sure what. Okay, then. Well, I mean, it's still dead next floor. But it's a level of... Huh? That's not how that's supposed to work. Okay, that suddenly bounced the damage into the sky. Which I am not against. Yeah, it's dead the second it arrives on the next floor just because of how much damage we've already dealt on this floor. Which is always a nice thing to see. I'm thinking after this fight I'm gonna cut the recording. See how it turned out. If it's good, you might be seeing us on YouTube. If so, hello, welcome. This is literally my first video. So, hope it was not absolute garbage, though it certainly feels like it might be. And have a great day. Oh, come on, I'll let you see what I got first. Huh. Have I seen this one before? I mean, I definitely have because of the, as you may have noticed, some of them have different backgrounds based on how much I've used them before and where. But I don't remember using this one before. I mean, that probably means it wasn't very good, but yeah. I think I'll pass on those. No, no. Well, actually, no, still no. And no. Now then. Have a nice day.